threatening California homes, roads, and lives. The storm sending torrents of water and mud rushing down hillsides and closing major thoroughfares across the state.
Storm is expected to target the LA basin today, prompting warnings of potential mudslides. A student accused of killing 2 people inside a dorm room at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs is headed to court today. Police arrested 25-year-old Nicholas Jordan yesterday. They say everyone involved in the incident knew each other and confirmed this was not a random attack. The U.S. is vetoing a resolution at the UN calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield said the resolution would negatively impact sensitive negotiations to free hostages held by Hamas. The deal being negotiated by the U.S., Israel, Egypt, and Qatar, but also pause fighting in the Gaza Strip for at least 6 weeks and allow humanitarian aid to enter the area. It comes as the Biden administration is facing increasing pressure from Democrats to rein in Israel's military operation in Gaza as the number of civilian casualties continues to rise. Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley is set to give a speech in South Carolina today. The speech comes just days before the former South Carolina governor is set to go head-to-head with former President Trump in her home state's GOP primary. Polls show Trump holds a wide lead over Haley. It's day 6 in the search of a missing 11-year-old Texas girl. Audrey Cunningham never made it on the school bus last Thursday in the Houston suburb of Livingston.
Investigators are following active leads based on tips and evidence that we have gathered.
Lieutenant Craig Cummings is with the Texas Department of Public Safety and says a person of interest is under arrest. Don McDougal is believed to be the last person to see the missing girl. The 42-year-old lives in a camper behind the family's home and drove her to school when she missed the bus. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
To alchemize them into
it's
the
time to
person
shop
they
in
are
the
now
cool,
and to
relaxed
live on the
comfort of the
planet.
Tri-City
I'd like
Shopping
you to
Center in
welcome Corey
Redlands,
Feldman.
conveniently located on the I-10 freeway between the Alabama and Tennessee exits. Bring the kids too and watch them play in the only indoor fun center, High Five Indoor Playground, where parents are welcomed on the playground. Birthday celebrations are encouraged, so make plans for some great fun at the mall. More reasons why the Tri-City Center is called the Mall with a Heart.
What would you do if you had a broken bone?
She's back
You'd go to the
again
doctor and use your insurance, right? Well, what would you do if you have a serious problem with drugs and alcohol?
Hi, Fran.
Most people do nothing until it's way too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times, addiction treatment is fully covered. So why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed to take time off by law, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are 2 good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, it's completely confidential. Call now, 800-398-7414. That's 800-398-7414.
And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
Our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex, and then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else.
And it can surely be
That
miraculous
moose
for
just got put on the table. And I see Josh and
naturally
Jim.
A 1 pound
You're
coffee
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding
To
because
order,
his
please
wife's
visit.
listening.
Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E, B like boy, O.
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was a path that I wanted to go down.
You
Monday
are
through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's beneficial presence on the planet of work, too.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a faithful trip that started from this tropic boy.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be.
But I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for Thanksgiving. I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go. So
Okay, come on over.
Life is so amazing if we can see it. off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness, so there's no gossip on the show, no scandal, and no K-words. Instead, no Kanye talk formerly or now. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests for everywhere from Olympians to classic TV and movie stars. Dee Wallace, the number one most film and TV credits right now living, is a friend of mine, Dee Wallace. She'll be coming on soon to, I think, 3 or 4 times on this show. She's just absolutely wonderful. You can catch her past shows on my free subscribe YouTube channel, which Troy Pacelli is here this morning, live in studio. He's always a wonderful support to this show, and he has his own show on Friday nights that you'll have to check out, called Last Call with Troy Pacelli. And today I have a very, 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 very special show for you. I got to go to Las Vegas, or Las Wages, to cover a fabulous event for the United Natives. And while I was there, I had already booked and knew that Harlan had offered up the wonderful comedian, Rich Little, who that kind of gives away my hashtag agelessness, but I'm sure even if you're younger, you may have heard or seen him. He's performing at the Laugh Factory in Tropicana right now with Tiffany Haddish's and a bunch of other amazing comedians. He is definitely an icon, and I got to go to his home and interview him and take a little tour that you saw on my social media yesterday. Just what's on his walls and kind of people that he's been able to not only work with and impersonate. John Wayne, John Carson, Dean Martin. He was one of the favorites for the roast, and if you get a chance to watch any of that, it really is pure comedy of the pure kind. And I was just delighted to be able to spend some time with him there, and then got VIP treatment in his show at the Tropicana. Make sure you cover, or you don't have to cover it. You can just go and just tell them that Dr. Marissa sent you, and they'll treat you really well, because he's 84 and still sharp and funnier than funny. And I'm bringing you the interview with him today. And so I'm going to do an abbreviated, because I want to make sure we have enough time. I'm just going to do one gratitude and one appreciation. You all know the drill. Take a bite of my gratitude sandwich, exercise your ability to balance out all the bad news out there with some good news, and start your day in the most positive way. So I am grateful that I got a chance to go to his home, Rich Little's home, and interview him. And I appreciate that I love my life. I definitely take time to smell the roses and the fertilizer, and I appreciate myself in that way. Troy Pacelli is thankful for today's spotlight. Rich Little was ubiquitous, throughout my childhood, and I have no doubt he had a huge impact on my personality and sense of humor. Yay! And as such, I'm appreciative of your sense of humor. Thank you. That was like a perfect rounding. And I'm just going to go ahead and now bring you Rich Little from his home. See if I can do this. That's not the one I wanted. I don't think. Oh, I know why. Here we go. And I am so delighted today to be interviewing an iconic impressionist, comedian, and someone who made me laugh my assets off when I was young. Please welcome to my studio, Mr. Rich Little.
Thank you. I'm still alive.
Yes, you are still alive.
Well, a few people said, Rich, we saw you die at the Tropicana, but that doesn't count.
No, it doesn't. You are still performing
Yeah.
At the Tropicana.
Right.
I get to see the show tonight. I was trying to get there Monday, but the rain was so wonderful from LA. It took me from 12:30 to 6:30 to get here, so I couldn't get to your show. But I'm coming tonight.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Excited
they're gonna blow up the Tropicana.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Did you ask them?
Months. I hope I'm not on stage at the time. But no, it's going to be demolished after all these years.
Wow.
And I've been there now nearly 9 years.
That's amazing. Because am I allowed to say how old or young you are?
In doggy years?
We can do doggy years.
Okay, I'm about 12 in doggy years.
12 in doggy years. Well, you're an octogenarian that I know of, and you must use oil of Olay because you don't look like your age. And I just found out we were born in the same country, Canada.
Yes. Canada, yeah. I left there in 1964.
Wow.
To do the Judy Garland show.
Wow.
Yeah, that started my career in the U.S.
And what are your memories of Judy Garland?
I like Judy Garland. I didn't see her at rehearsals because she never came.
Oh.
You know, which was to my benefit, really, because when we filmed my bit that I was going to do on the show, she saw it for the first time because she never saw it at rehearsals because she wasn't there. And so her reaction was quite genuine and was really incredible. And when you look at it today, you're looking at her, not at me, because she's just, I mean, she was the greatest audience for what I did. You know, I did all the voices, and of course, I think she knew everybody I impersonated. So she came unglued, and that started my career, really. After the Judy Garland show, I went on to do a lot of variety shows, you know, but that was the start.
Yeah. And you've been guest host on the Tonight Show.
Yeah. 32 times.
32 times.
Yeah. Well, I hosted it 32 times. I don't know how many times I was on it.
Probably a lot more.
A lot more, but I hosted it for a number of years when Johnny was off. And that was a lot of pressure for me, you know, doing the Tonight Show, because everybody watched it, you know, in those days. And I would say the Tonight Show and the Dean Martin Roast were two of the most terrifying shows to do because you knew everybody was watching. And of course, on the roast, you had so many great performers sitting on the dais, and that kind of shook you up too, you know, to look down and see Jack Benny and George Burns and John Wayne and Ronald Reagan. I mean, Orson Welles. And I mean, a lot of people couldn't handle it, you know, because of the celebrities that were there. But I somehow managed to get through it.
And do you feel like it's almost like a different lifetime ago? Because you're mentioning names that are, you know, huge and such memorable people who are no longer
That's right.
on this side.
That's right.
What are your memories or thoughts, or, you know?
Well, I think they hired me at the Tropicana because I brought in an older crowd, and there wasn't any entertainment for an older audience, you know, because the Laugh Factory is for younger people, and it can be quite blue, you know, and the comics today do observational humor. You know, they don't tell jokes or anything, but the observational humor. And, you know, the F word is used a lot. And my audience is older, of course. And so they remember all the people I do. You know, if you're over 50, I guess you remember Dean Martin and John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart.
Well, I'm ageless, so I can't admit anything.
But sometimes we get a young person in the audience who's laughing their head off and they don't know who I'm doing.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, they're laughing at the humor, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I had a kid in, well, last year, and I still remember it, sat in the front row and he was laughing his head off. He was about 15. And then the show was over. I called him over and I said, God, you seem to enjoy my show. He said, Mr. Little, you are really funny, but I was confused. I said, what were you confused about? He said, I just kept wondering why you kept changing your voice.
I guess impressionism is not part of the education of a 15-year-old yet.
No.
Right, right. Did you do Johnny Carson when you were guest hosting for him?
Johnny Carson? Yeah, I did Johnny Carson. I'm still doing Johnny Carson today. And the last time I saw Johnny Carson was in Malibu, about a year before he passed away. And he came up to me at my table and said, Rich, are you still doing me in your act? I said, yeah, of course, John, but I'm not on television. I said, that doesn't matter. People will remember you for a long time. Isn't that interesting? He said that, and here we are like 50, 60 years later, and I'm still doing them, you know?
And I think it's almost a nostalgic, warm homecoming for that crowd that's, you know, remembering the older days when things were a lot different.
Well, I take them down memory lane, really, you know. I mean, I do all the old stars, and I do a couple of living people. You know, I'm not really, my act is not totally deceased, you know, although at times.
Dead people talking, right?
Yeah, dead people talking, yeah.
Who do you do that is alive now?
Dr. Phil, I do him, and I do. I'm trying to think of who I do that's still alive. Well, Sylvester Stallone and Jack Nicholson, I do, and Clint Eastwood, you know. So there's a few people that are still alive, you know.
Have any of them ever reached out to you and said, you do me better than I do?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Ronald Reagan said that to me once. He said, you know, Rich, I think you do me better than I do. And I said, really? Yes. In fact, you do me so good that I think when I pass away, I think they should bury you. And when he did pass away, I thought about that.
I bet.
Well, yeah. That's why I didn't go to. That's why I didn't go to the funeral. No, yeah.
So, have you always been funny? Like, did this develop, or?
I never intended to be a comedian, really. I did impressions, and that was what I thought it involved. You know, just doing an impression of somebody that's famous. But I had to suddenly do something funny with them and say something funny. And in doing that, I had to become a comedian, you know, which I never counted on. But, you know, it's not the impression alone, it's what you say, you know. And so I have a lot of jokes and bits that I've done down through the years, and I have hundreds of them. And I just, you know, if I need something new, I just go to my joke book and pull out something new and or something old and put it in the act, you know. So you never throw anything away, really.
Good thing for you, because this career has spanned.
Well, it spanned
70, no, 60. When did you start? How old were you?
I was about, well, let's see, when I went on the Judy Garland show, I was in my late 20s, I think.
Late 20s, all right.
Yeah.
And you grew up in Canada were your parents in the industry?
No.
Nope.
No, my father was a doctor.
No.
He was a neurologist, my father was. And I knew from a very early age my dad was a neurologist because he was always telling me to piss off. But that's a terrible joke. But he was a good doctor, though. My mother was a housewife. You know, she didn't really do much except, well, she did a lot, actually. She kept the house going and cooked all the meals and everything. And they both were wonderful people. I didn't have a problem growing up with my parents at all. They were just wonderful and stayed together until my father died in the 60s.
So when you said to them, I'm going to be an impressionist or I want to go into the entertainment field, their response was,
Richard, I understand that you're going into show business. That's right, Mother. Well, let me give you a little piece of advice. Be your own person. Don't rely on others. I said, wait a minute, Mom, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing other people. No, be yourself. So I'm glad I never listened to my mother.
yes, it wouldn't have worked. And it's interesting, you know, I get to interview quite a few people in the biz. Kevin Costner shared that his father, when he said, I want to be an actor, his father said, you know, it's a difficult industry. And then, you know, after The Bodyguard came out, his dad's like, oh, okay, good. And then he said, I want to be a director. And he's like, you're a good actor, stay there. And then he did well in director, and now he's doing music.
It's a lot tougher to be a director, really, because you have to get on the set early and you have to know the script. And I mean, it's a lot different than just being an actor, you know. But some people are good at doing both. But it must be hard, you know, for somebody like Clint Eastwood to set up the shot and realize you're going to be in it. You're not going to be behind the camera. And so how do you know how well you did? You'd have to rely on the cameraman, I guess. Huh? Tough job. Yeah. There are few people that really do it well, you know.
Ron Howard,
yeah.
Of them definitely.
Yeah, he was on my variety show, Ron Howard was, back in the 70s, when he had hair, you know. Very nice kid. Well, he's not a kid anymore, of course, but what a genius he is. Oh my God.
I haven't been able or gotten a chance to interview him, but all his cast from Happy Days, Marion Ross is a beautiful woman.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
Her son is an impressionist. Have you met him, Meskimen?
No.
Oh,
I
he's
haven't.
the impressionist.
Well, Andy Griffith, you know, when I did my show, my variety show, I thought he was the best actor I ever had on the show. Boy, Andy Griffith was fabulous. Knew all his lines. His timing was incredible. And we had a lot of great people on that show, but Andy Griffith stands out for me.
That's right. Who's your favorite person to do an impersonation of?
Well, I have to say Ronald Reagan. But there are a number of them that I love to do, you know, Johnny Carson and Jimmy Stewart, you know, all the old actors from the 40s and 50s. And it's tougher to do an actor today because they don't really have distinctive voices like they used to, you know. So many actors play different parts, you know, like Tom Hanks will play Forrest Gump, and then he will be in a,
Captain
war picture or something, you know. And so he's very versatile. So you can't pin him down with an impression. Most people do with Forrest Gump, but he's got a tremendous range, you know. And the English actors have a tremendous range, you know. I was always impressed with the English actors because they looked at the part, how good it was. And it didn't have to be a leading role. It could be just a simple walk-on or a couple of lines. But, you know, they weren't worried about billing and all that. They just wanted to act in movies, you know.
Have you ever done Richard Dreyfuss? I got to do a soundbite with him.
No, he came to see the show, though.
He did?
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. That's very, well, it's funny because when I first met you and you did Richard Nixon on the carpet and you did this, and I'm like, wait, do you know who I am? Because I'm known for flashing peace. And I said, you know that? And no, and then he go ahead, do your Richard Nixon.
Richard Nixon. my fellow Americans, you know, after looking at Joe Biden, my God, I'm starting to look pretty damn good.
Oh, we're going there. Let's not go there. But
I do Joe Biden, but I'm not going to do him for you here because there's still maybe one or two liberals out there. You know, we wouldn't want to offend those three people. You know.
Oh boy, oh boy.
I'm a big Trump supporter, you know, and if suddenly you dislike me, that's okay. I don't care. I think Trump, whether you like Trump or not, you can criticize him because he's full of himself. We know that, but he did an awful lot for this country, and that's what you got to think about. Forget about the personality and think what he did for immigration and, you know, and no wars when he was president. And I mean, I think he's great. I really do. But some people will really disagree with me.
No comment.
Okay, no, it's true.
No,
it's actually better to not say, you know, what party you support because you're offending, I guess, a certain number of people. Like Johnny Carson, you never knew who he was for, you know. So it's probably better not to. But with the state this country's in right now, I don't care.
And there you have it. If you've just tuned in and wondering what's going on in the studio today, you are tuned in to Take My Advice on Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, the Rumble, Podchasers, Trigger Speaker, everywhere. Why? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. And today, so delighted to have in studio, I'm actually live, reporting live in Las Vegas. Rich Little kindly invited me to his home where we are filming right now, and I'll be bringing this show to you very soon. He is the man of 1,000 voices. Any of you who grew up with Jimmy Stewart and Richard Nixon and all of them, Johnny Carson, will absolutely remember Rich Little. And if you don't, it's okay. He's funny.
Oh, you did that well. You did that well. Would you repeat that?
I could, but I don't want to.
No.
But I'll take the compliment.
No, you did that well. I'm telling you. No cue cards or anything.
That's right. Well, this is show number, I just passed show number 1,102. So I've been on 617 consecutive weeks. And they call me the Asian Oprah. I don't know if you know that. I was introduced to Oprah as the Asian Oprah. Do you do Oprah?
No, I don't. No, I do very few women at my age.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask, but yeah, I figured that.
I do a few, though. I do Catherine Hepburn, Norman, you old poop. You know, I do
Dr. Ruth Westenberg. You know, she talk like that. You know, sex is a lot like air. It's not important unless you don't get any.
You know, I interviewed her in New York.
Did you?
Actually.
Isn't it amazing? She's still with us, isn't she?
She's still with us, and she's a whippersnapper.
I remember once I was at a party, and Dr. Ruth was there, and I wanted to meet her, and I looked all around. I couldn't find her. Finally, she was right below me, pulling on my pants.
How did I know that?
I looked down, and there she was. I thought she was a munchkin. I really did, you know.
She is short.
Oh, she's very short. Well, great, because I'm little, you know.
Oh man, you're definitely in the prime here. You're getting ready for your show tonight.
Yeah, well, you know, they keep coming, and it's funny. The audiences are interesting because they're all different. And some nights I go out there and there's like 30 people, you know, and another night I'll go out there and there's 60 people. And yet you can't predict it, you know. You just can't. Sometimes people don't show up. They pay a lot of money for tickets and they don't show up, you know. Maybe they're gambling and they're winning. I don't know.
Or losing.
Maybe they can't find the showroom, you know. That's a problem at the Trop. Nobody knows where it is. You know?
Oh, well, I'll make sure I get there.
Yeah, I hope they don't come when they blow it up. I hope they still don't come.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah,
I hope you're not in there.
It'd be hard to see them,
So, who would you say you haven't met in this lifetime that you want to meet?
I would really like to meet, that's may surprise you, but Eva Marie Saint. I think she's terrific with a great career. She's now, I think, 100 years old.
Wow.
But I would love to meet her. You know, I thought when she was younger, she was not only gorgeous, but talented, you know. And that's just somebody I would like to spend a few minutes with. And she's worked with all the greats. So I would have a ball doing my James Mason and my Cary Grant, yes. Anyway, there's a lot of people that I wish I'd met. You know, I was reading a book the other day on Roger Moore and James Bond, and he sounded like a very interesting, nice person, you know. And I thought to myself, God, I wish I'd met him. So there's just a lot of people I never got a chance to meet, you know.
Right.
But I have met a lot of biggies.
I was going to say,
Oh, yeah.
I think you probably more than the average person have met a plethora of.
Well, when you do the roasts, the Dean Martin roasts, you meet a lot of great comics because they were all there, and actors too. And when you do, you know, the Tonight Show, you meet a lot of, well, Hollywood Squares, you meet a lot of.
Oh, that's right. You were on Hollywood Squares
That's
a
right.
lot.
With Paul Lynde. Oh, God. I love Paul Lynde. He was great, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah. that was not a voice that you could, you know, you knew who that was as soon as you said that.
Yeah. He had a great voice, Paul Lynde. Yeah.
I've had Fran Drescher on my show a couple times.
Oh, yeah? I did her show. Yeah.
And
Very nice lady. Very nice lady.
have you tried her?
To imitate her?
Yeah.
No.
No.
No. The only women that I can do really are people that are larger than life, you know, like Carol Channing.
Oh, I
you
met
know.
her.
Carol Channing. You know, Carol had poor eyesight, and so when you met her, she would look at you like she didn't know who you were. And then when she got about a foot away, she suddenly went, "Oh, it's you." You know, I remember one time we were working together at the Desert Inn, and she said, "Rich, let's go over across the street when the show's over and see Tony Bennett." I said, fine, Carol. So when the show was over, we walked across the street over to Caesars, and we were walking through the lobby, and a guy came up to her and said, "Oh my God, Carol Channing, right? Oh, what a terrific impression. You look exactly like her." Well, you know, God, it's incredible. I don't know who did your makeup, but you look like her a lot. And who are you? And she said, "I'm a truck driver from Toledo, and I'm just going to see Tony Bennett." Isn't that funny?
That is.
He thought that she was somebody made up to be Carol Channing.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to meet Jerry Lewis?
Yeah, I met Jerry Lewis, but he was difficult.
He was.
Well, you know, I think he was talented, but you know, I kind of agree with Dean Martin. He could be a bit of a problem, you know, because he was a perfectionist, you know, and Dean wasn't. Dean wanted to do it and go play golf, you know. But Jerry, you know, and he took a lot of money from the muscular dystrophy. Too much, you know. So I don't know. He's not one of my all-time favorites, but
yeah,
you can't be picky.
So, who were your role models, like when you were coming up?
Well, you mean comedians or just people I admire?
Both. I think it's interesting.
Well, I liked Gregory Peck. I got to know Gregory Peck, and he didn't have much of a sense of humor, but probably one of the great actors, I think, of all time. And I liked, of course, Jimmy Stewart. You know, God, Jimmy was wonderful. And he was a very shy man, you know. If you saw him at some function, he'd be sitting in the corner by himself, and then his wife, Gloria, would be working the room. You know, and she'd be going around talking to everybody, and Jimmy'd just be sitting in the corner. So you go over to him, sit down next to him, try and get him to talk, but he was kind of shy, actually.
Interesting.
So I loved him, and I loved, as far as actors are concerned, I like Christopher Plummer. Oh my God! And he worked in Canada. I think he is a Canadian, or was.
I think so. Yeah.
And I wish the heck I'd met him. But you can't meet everybody, But
that's true.
You think later, oh my God, I wish the heck I'd ever met that person.
Yeah. Now let's. I didn't ask if there was anything I couldn't ask you, so I'm going to ask, and then you can tell me.
How many times have you been married? Is that what you want to ask?
I wasn't going to ask that particular question, but how many times have you been in love?
Married 4 times.
4 times.
And at the last wedding, they threw minute rice. I was not a great husband, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
you can't blame one person for a failed marriage.
No.
And
I don't think there's anything such as.
So there were things I didn't do right. I realize now, but the greatest love of my life was my 3rd wife, and she was a doll, Marie. But unfortunately, she took her own life. She had headaches that were unbearable, and we couldn't solve it. And that was the saddest time of my life.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, that was horrendous. She took her life, and she drowned herself in the bathtub, and I found her there. And oh my God, when I think back on that, I just get so teary-eyed, But anyway, life actually is ups and downs, isn't it? The good and the bad, and you got to roll with it.
Yes. Yeah, and you have kids. You have 2.
Yeah, I have 2 daughters.
2 daughters. I do too.
Yeah.
Girls are good.
One of them lives here in Vegas, and very quiet, very, very sweet lady. And the other one is she's a riding instructor in Malibu.
Oh.
Loves horses, and a lot of personality, and we get along great. I get along with both of them, actually.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
What do you want to be remembered for or as? Like Rich Little blank.
Well, I was just thinking maybe when I pass away on the tombstone, they should put all my voices. Here lies Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne, George Burns, Jack Benny. Wouldn't that be funny?
That would be funny, but you're
God, are all these people lying here? Good Lord,
They'd have to fold the stone, though. There's no way they could.
Well, we had to get a double stone because, I do about 50 voices.
More than 50.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's a few people I do that aren't famous. I could do my mother. I just did her a few minutes ago. I could do, I didn't do my father, but I could do neighbors and relatives and people like that. And but I don't do them in my show. Yes.
Well, that's interesting because where did the man of 1,000 voices come from?
Well, the man of 1,000 voices is something somebody dreamed up because of Lon Chaney, remember, in movies in the 30s, and he took on various people with makeup and everything, and he was the man of 1,000 faces. Lon Chaney was.
Okay.
So, when you get an impersonator who does a lot of voices, they tag them the man of 1,000 voices. But it's ridiculous. There's nobody living who can do 1,000 voices.
Well, you got credited with
Rich Little, man of 1,000 voices. Would you do them for us, Mr. Little? Can you do 1,000 impressions? Yes, I can. I can do 1,000 impressions in a ball game.
Very good. That's very good.
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad. Bad, but good.
Well.
Yeah. So not 1,000 voices. So what do you want to be remembered?
Well, that I brought a little joy into people's lives, and they could forget their troubles and laugh for about an hour, and that's what Cary Grant said to me one day. Rich, what you do, you make people forget themselves, all their problems. And that was very nice of him to say that. But I guess it's true. People come up to me and say, we had a wonderful evening, and
laughter is
very
best
funny. And I'm glad you keep your show pretty clean, which I do.
That's great.
Well, not entirely, but pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But see, the young comics today use the F word all the time.
Yes.
As I said earlier, they use observational humor, things that have happened to them in life. And there are some comics who just go out on stage with nothing in their head at all, think they can ad lib for an hour. But it doesn't work that way.
No.
Even Don Rickles didn't ad lib. He knew where he was going.
He had a course.
He could ad lib, great, but he when he walked out on stage, he pretty well knew what he was going to do.
Yeah.
There's nobody really that can just walk out there and do a comedy routine with nothing in their head. But some of them do.
Right. What advice do you have for anyone who wants to go into business, do what you're doing? Kind of, if you had met yourself when you were young, what would you have advised yourself?
Well, if you have a certain amount of talent, don't rely on your relatives because they will lie. But, if you have a talent for doing whatever it is, you've got to get a manager. You've got to get somebody that can promote you because you can't do it yourself. And you get somebody that has a little power in the business, maybe has other acts that are famous, and then they can bring you along with them, But you have to get a manager and or an agent. An agent's great too. They're not the same. The manager is more personal, and the agent is one that books the shows for you. But I would just say, whatever you do, whether you're an actor or a comedian, just keep working at it, and don't get discouraged, and try and meet the right people.
I hear all the time about rejection and.
Oh, there's a lot of rejection.
Yeah. How do you deal with that? What do you do?
Well, the best thing you can do is just, you're disappointed and you're crushed at the moment, but by the next day, you got to forget about it totally and just keep going. Don't get discouraged, because there's many, many great actors that at the beginning of their careers, they were not very good and they couldn't get a job, and it was amazing, isn't it? And then later on, with experience, they became terrific, But there's a lot of actors that started out that weren't that talented. I mean, John Wayne, when he was very young, when he was the singing cowboy, he wasn't very good, but
okay, I didn't hear that part of it, but.
Oh, I'm the singing cowboy. I don't think I've ever heard John Wayne sing. Well, he did sing in some of those early movies, but they're coming to get me. They're coming to get me. I'm going to shoot them all dead. I don't know.
Do you have any other inside stories that we don't know about certain people that you can share?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
But I'm not going to share.
But you're not going to. Well, that's good because my show's not.
There's a few people I'm not crazy about, but it's better to say nothing, really. But
True.
Well.
He's debating. We're teetering here.
Well, sometimes you can be wrong, You can say, oh, that person was terrible, and I didn't get along with them at all. Oh, my God. And then you'll run into somebody else that they're the greatest,
Absolutely.
So it depends, I guess. You could meet somebody when they're just in a bad mood, or maybe somebody passed away in the morning, or but
that's just, good.
And then the next time you meet them, they're entirely different. So.
That is true. The quandary of show business and I want attention and I want to be famous, and then you get the attention, you're famous, and it's like, leave me alone, don't bother me. Speak to that for a bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's many people. I mean, if Marilyn Monroe hadn't become a big star, she probably would have lived to 80 years old. Some people can't handle fame, and it's amazing that Frank Sinatra lasted as long as he did, because he drank. Oh my God, and but he could be a very, very warm, nice person, Frank Sinatra. And the other side of him isn't too pleasant. But he kept going, and I admire him for that. You know, he was a good guy, bad guy.
So that's sort of lends it to the mental health aspect.
Yeah.
What is your take and advice with respect to show business and mental health? Because I mean, it seems like at least once a week, someone who has reached that point of fame takes their life, and it's like, it's you know, is it because actors are sensitive, expressive, and then prone to depression, or is it because they don't know how to handle the fame? You're in it.
Yeah, I think what you just said is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Robin Williams, he just.
That was the saddest.
He was so brilliant.
Yes.
That his brain couldn't handle it.
Mm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And some people destroy themselves, and it's amazing because you think to yourself, they have everything.
Right.
They have fame, they have money, they have a great wife, you know, great friends, and they end it all. You know, and it always surprises me, but it does happen.
You're right. It's understandable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not preferable, but yeah.
No.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, I worked with Peter Duell on a situation comedy called Love on a Rooftop. And if you remember Peter Duell, he was with Judy Carn. They were the stars of the show. I was the next door neighbor. But Peter Duell, you know, he took his life. Just shot himself with a gun. And you could kind of see it coming because he got more strange as the series progressed.
Interesting.
And he was not quite normal. And but that was quite a blow, you know. Yeah.
Are you ever going to retire?
Well, sometimes when I walk upstairs, I think I should retire, you know. But I'd hate to be wheeled out on stage. Don Rickles was wheeled out on stage. No. Oh yeah, at the end, he came out in a wheelchair because his legs were gone.
Wow.
But he still was funny, you know. But I don't think I wanted. How would I do Johnny Carson if I was sitting in a wheelchair?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So long as I have my health.
How do you keep in shape? You are in very good shape.
Well, not really, but
you look like.
I use a bicycle every day.
Okay.
Stationary bicycle. I do about an hour on that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then summertime I go swimming.
Okay.
You know, and I do my Esther Williams, and go make maybe 12 laps in the pool. I wouldn't go in now. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, it is a little
chilly.
Yeah.
But I like Vegas. You know, it's a wonderful little city if you ever get it finished.
You moved here?
Moved here after I did the Judy Garland show.
Okay. So it's been a while. Not recently. I mean,
you've
been here a while.
Oh yeah, I've been here.
Yeah.
A lot of years. Yeah.
Favorite place you've been to in the world?
In the world? Well, I always liked Hawaii, you know, until they burned it up. But I think it's coming back, isn't it?
Everything will come back.
Slowly.
For sure.
Yeah, I like to go to Hawaii, but I guess there's parts of it that are still all burnt. Huh?
Yeah.
But I when I did my one-nighters, you know, when I performed.
You had one-night stands?
One night, well, not sexually, but.
I could not resist.
No.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
No, we won't talk about that. But
oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble for that.
Yeah, so
your assistant's laughing. But you didn't expect that, did you?
A couple of replies, but I won't say them.
You can say them from stage tonight.
You're too much.
I know. They say that about me. But I do ask, we're wrapping up now, and I know you've been so kind with your time, but what are you most grateful to or for in this thing called life?
My health. You know, that's everything, isn't it? You haven't got your health, you got nothing.
Right.
Friendship. Enjoy your work.
Hang out with?
Well, I don't hang out with many people, you know, because most of my friends are passed away.
Right.
And my act is deceased, you know. I lost a lot of great friends like Robert Goulet and Howard Keel. Oh, these were great friends of mine, but they're no longer with us. And it's you know, I sketch. You know, I do charcoal drawings. Charcoal drawings. I've done hundreds and hundreds of them. Most of the people I impersonate, I've done sketches of.
Really?
Yeah, and I remember the other day I put together a number of sketches I did on people that have passed away, close friends of mine, and I'm going to put them on the wall. Gone but not forgotten. You know, and that will be sad to do that, but I've got about 12 pictures. You know.
Would you, because I know an art gallery that does have pieces from people who are known for other things, but I think that would be a great fundraising thing too.
Oh yeah.
To do.
Oh, I sell my sketches.
Oh, you do sell them? Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Loretta Swift, who's also been on my show.
Yes, Loretta
she
Swift.
Does
yes.
like that. And,
like Loretta. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been really fun.
Thanks.
And thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome.
And
you're a delight to talk to. Sometimes I talk to somebody in their 20s and they have no idea who I am.
Oh.
I did an interview with a girl that was about 20 the other day, and I talked for about 20 minutes, and then at the end of the interview, she said to me, "I don't know who you are, but it's been a pleasure."
I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I won't say anything because I know her.
Well, I said, my name is Little Richard.
And then you said, I know you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, people get flustered when they meet you. They'll come up to you and say, "Do you know who you are?" You know. And I had a couple come up to me the other day that was coming into the showroom, and they said, "We wanted to catch you before you died."
Oh, no.
Or is this the same act you did in 1967?
Oh, my gosh. People are silly.
They say
stupid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I would be nice there.
Yeah.
But if I can ask you to do one more thing, this is something I asked you on the carpet, and you're like, "What are you doing?" I do this at the end of the show because my BS, my belief system is that the world would be a better place if we all were more balanced, right? So I do peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. So if you wouldn't mind doing that with me, peace in, peace out.
Half of Nixon.
That's how I know. Peace in, peace out, peace in.
Peace in, yes.
Peace out.
Peace out.
World peace.
World peace.
Through inner peace.
Through inner peace.
Yeah.
Oh, how nice.
Thank you.
Great. Pleasure talking
to you.
to you.
Wonderful time. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live in Vegas in the beautiful home of Rich Little, iconic impressionist comedian. Go see him at the Tropicana anytime you're in Las Vegas.
If this was entertainment tonight, this would be a great 3-minute bit.
Yes, it would be. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mary.
I hope you enjoyed that. Hold on. I need some major applause for that interview. He is as delightful as you just experienced him. And thank you, Troy. I'm glad that you caught the interview, Maria, as well. Welcome to Greg, a new listener, watcher, and complimented me as a speckled puppy. Definitely a first for that. Let's see. Do we have time? I just found, and I really should have. No, I'm not going to shit on myself, but there's some just great.
This is the emergency fire blanket. The emergency fire blanket is a one-stop fire protection tool for several types of fires.
There's
a small fire, pull the blanket out past
the one that I use is
Good man, Mr. Rich Little.
I have to look up the ones that he did on Martin.
Jim, it seems to me that you know, and the thing is that
what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say?
Jim, I am grateful to you because you keep people like me working. No, I'm serious. And you're probably imitated by more people than anybody in show business. And the reason is, it's so easy to do. I mean, anybody could do Jimmy Stewart. Even you could do you. Jim, I don't want to brag or anything, but I've noticed lately that your Jimmy Stewart is just, well, it just isn't what it used to be, you know? It's slipping away. Now, would you stand up for a minute, Jim? Let me give you a few pointers here. Now, the first thing you got to do is put your hand out like this and just kind of shake. That's good. That's good. Now, I want you to kind of look through the tops of your eyes and give it that. Okay. No, kind of squint them a little bit and bend over just a bit there. That's it. Now, I want you to say, I feel terrible. How do you think we feel? We've been watching you for 40 years, too. That little nose thing was great. Gives you a little character. Now, I want you to put the hand out, look through the tops of your eyes and say, wow. Just like that. Wow. Got it. Wow. No good. That's terrible. Did you ever hear such a bad Jimmy Stewart in your life?
Oh, all right. I could watch this all day, and we're going to let's see. It's a strange comment I just saw on the other chat line, but I just wanted to wrap up with appreciation for being able to get that interview, and I am. You know, I was saying to my sound engineer, Frank, in the back, that how lucky am I? How fortunate am I to, I mean, it's like literally a different lifetime ago of the golden age of Hollywood, I think, because of just the grace that you saw. I love when they flash to George Burns and they flash to Lucille Ball, they flash to, Don Rickles, somebody mentioned in the chat. It's just, if you want, laughter is the best medicine, and to really enjoy what you saw as, it was like funny without, I don't know, there's a difference between their kind of roasting and funny than the bashing, personal, angry, humor that seems to dominate these days. And so that's my takeaway is, can we laugh with people like we used to? Anyways, I'm out of time. Thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so it's Stuck is in the House series with Dr. Tiffany Tate and I. Thanks for joining us every weekday morning. If you free subscribe on my YouTube channel, please feel free to do any positive kind of commenting and liking and all of that if you enjoyed today. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live because it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. We'll see you tomorrow.
NBC News on KCAA.